Alrighty. I'm just going to let that timer go in 7 seconds, but I wanted to end on the music. Hello, everyone. You'll hear an little extra noise. I got an extra fan going because it's 100 and some degrees in Texas today. So, thank you all for being here. Today, we are going to be talking about the OBSBOT talent. And the OBSBOT talent is OBSBOT's latest big thing. And I have the talent right here. We're going to do an unboxing and we're going to go through it. And the first thing everybody's going to say is, it looks like the Magewell. Yes, it does. It is, Magewell is the OEM. Okay, next question. It looks like a Magewell. Yes, it is. It is manufactured. But OBSBOT can tweak it because OBSBOT also makes wireless PTZ cameras. And OBSBOT also makes remotes. And OBSBOT makes a tiny PTZ USB camera. And there's lots of things going on. And OBSBOT has their own apps. So there's a lot going on in this whole ecosystem. I'm actually going to start my Instagram. I'm going to start that too. And we are live on YouTube, of course, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitch. So if you're on any of those 4 platforms, you can send me a message. I've got some messages coming in on Facebook and YouTube. And if you're on the other platforms, you can send me a message. And I am now live on, if I can't get it to go full screen, I don't want to go full screen. It's ignoring me. All right, well, I'm live on Insta as well. And we will get into this. First, I love having people chime in where they're watching from. Let me get rid of this. And we've got a good audience. We've got a great audience today. We have Bob watching, Whiskey 03B, or Whiskey Oscar 3 Bravo. That's an extra call. Watching from North Las Vegas, Nevada. And Saul is watching from Chicago, and thankfully this is an interactive show, so Saul reminded me I had no opening music because I had the wrong preset touched, so thank you very much. This is an interactive show. You are here, I am here, and the whole point of you being here when it's live is that you can throw a question into the comments, or a comment, or observation, or anything like that. So this is interactive, and you could also let me know if the audio is sounding good or if it's over modulating or things like that. That seems to change from week to week. Jason Hoffman is watching from Texas, and scroll down the list. Bert is watching from Spooner, Wisconsin, and just a little further away, Parvaz is watching from Kashmir, India, which is very cool. I hear India is looking at changing their name back to what India called itself before other countries called it India. So that'll be kind of cool. I don't know what I saw the name of it, but I can't remember what the name of it is. Christophe Weller is saying hello from Grenoble, France. Good to see you. Marcus, no, I don't want to do that. Marcus is saying hello. I'm going to guess from Germany. He'll actually be here. He could be right here in the studio later this week. And let's see, DK is in Orlando. Mark Dingle is in Akron, Ohio. Got a big audience in here today. Rotherham, saying that right? Rotherham in the UK. Audiovisual integration is in Spokane, Washington. Robert Linkrum is in California. One of these times you got to do a broadcast from the beach. That'd be cool. I'll tune into that. And Bharat, right? That's what it was. Bharat. Thank you very much for chiming in. See, this is an interactive show. I can ask what people in Bharat call their country, and they would say we called it Bharat before, it was conquered, and then they called it India. So very cool. Let's go back up to the top. We got some questions. And the first one in, Bob White, even before we begin, the OBSBOT Talent looks to be a Magewell Director Mini. Yes, but different firmware. So OBSBOT is making their own firmware, and it's going to be different from what Magewell offers now. And as time progresses, they'll probably go in slightly different directions. Because remember, as I was saying, OBSBOT has their own cameras and other devices, so that it would not be too far of a stretch for OBSBOT to, like Apple, make direct calls, make it super convenient. Like, one of the things I was thinking is that OBSBOT could make it so that from the Talent, you can tell each of the cameras to record 4K internally, basically telling the remote cameras to record, kind of like a Blackmagic does. If you've got the ATEM and you hit record, you could be telling all of your ATEM cameras to record internally on the camera at 6K or whatever, even though your ATEM Mini is only going to be doing HD. So that's a really cool feature. And OBSBOT could very well integrate that into their version of the Talent, or their version of this hardware. Let's scroll down here. Again, I'd love to know where everybody's watching from, so if you haven't already told me, throw that in. And if you have any streaming questions, you can throw them into the comments at any time. It does not have to be OBSBOT related, but today's show is focusing on the OBSBOT Talent. Bert is mentioning he's going SDI to HDMI and back again. Do you need anything special with them, or is it plug and play? I do, well, I actually usually do the reverse. I have an HDMI camera, I convert it to SDI, I go a really long length with SDI and then convert back to HDMI, and I usually do not have a problem with that. You make your own cables and it seems like they are not connecting. If you're going a long distance, the SDI specification is very critical with regards to the type of cable, the loss, the reflectance, and things like that. So you want to make sure you're using Kane or Belden or a good cable. Don't be using just video cable. And HDMI, if you're trying to build your own HDMI cables with, I think they have 16 wires in there, kudos to you. I wouldn't try it. What hardware are you using to stream today? Looking good hardware for out in the boonies where I live. Okay, well, what hardware I'm using is not necessarily related to my connectivity. I produce the show on a Director Mini. So this interface you see, well, not the comments. I produce the show on the Director Mini. I cut, I do the picture-in-picture in the Director Mini. Then this goes into Restream for the comments. So that's how I'm able to integrate more destinations like LinkedIn and Twitch. So I'm able to incorporate more. I used to be able to do Twitter, but then they decided to ask me to pay them to create content for them to get viewers to be on their platform. And I said, no. So that's what I use. And then I also have an ATEM off to the side that switches when I have a picture-in-picture box, like this one. When I have a picture-in-picture box, whatever's in that box is actually controlled by the ATEM, so I can switch what's in that box. So if I wanted to go to my overhead camera, like that, that is controlled via the ATEM, which is off to the side. So one of the advantages of having two different switchers at the same time, and I've actually done that a long time, even 2 years ago when I was doing shows for YOLO, I'd have the Pro and then I'd have an ATEM Mini 4-input switcher, and that's how I switched what was in the box, because you couldn't do enough presets and it would be challenging to have 20 different, different multi-views, where it's easy to have one side by side and then use a second switcher to switch what's over there. So that's what I'm doing. Let me move these microphones, or these headphones, just in case you're hearing an echo. I'm going to move these further away from the microphone. Continuing down the line. Akron, Ohio, I think I got you. How close does the OBSBOT have to be to a subject? Looking for church applications. This thing can be anywhere. This does not have to be close to your subject. In terms of church applications, if you're talking about the tail air, this is a 3x digital zoom. Technically, it does not. It is a fixed. There's no optical zoom in this camera. OBSBOT does have different PTZ cameras with optical zoom. This is not those. So the question, how close the OBSBOT, depends on which OBSBOT you're talking about. And in reality, the talent, the actual switching device, does not have to be anywhere near where the cameras are. This could be in another part of the building if your cables are long enough. We will get into that in a little bit later. Adrian Gaeta says, how do you stream to Instagram? I am using the YOLO Live InStream. So I'm taking this same camera feed, and instead of doing this picture side by side, I'm doing a top bottom. So my shot is at the top, and then this wide view is at the bottom. So if I wanted to show you something like just my overhead view like this, what they're seeing on Instagram is my head over top of this side-to-side view, and then a title at the bottom. So I have different shows going to different audiences because Instagram is more vertical and YouTube is more horizontal. So that is what I'm doing, and that's how I'm doing it. I'm doing 2 different shows on 2 different devices. I'm not just sending this stream to Instagram, which you can do now that Instagram has opened up RTMP. But what they would do is they would just give you a center cut. And if I do a center cut, well, if Instagram is going to take a center cut and then I go like this, they're not going to see me, and they're not going to see all of that picture to the right. So that sort of makes that useless. So that's why I'm doing it with a separate device, because I need to make sure that what I'm presenting to the vertical audience meets the expectations of the vertical audience. Got another question coming in. Robert asks, using all available actual and virtual inputs, HDMI, NDI, what are the maximum inputs on a YOLO Box Ultra? I have a video on this. I have tested. I have pushed it to the limit. And if you go to, actually makes a really good segue. If you go to the StreamTEK channel on YouTube, you can scroll down, and I connected 15 inputs into the YOLO Box Ultra. It did start to get a bit overwhelmed when I added 4 remote guests, so call-ins. If you're not planning on call-ins, then I think I was going for 15, and with RTSP you could have 16 minus 5, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, I think that's 11. So I think 11 is the top that you can get into the Ultra, not counting remote guests. So I think that is, because you've got 4 HDMI, 3 USB, 4, 5, 6, 7, 3 NDI, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then you've got an RTSP or an SRT. I don't know if we can do both of those. So 11 to 12-ish, it's around that range. But again, the harder you push it, because all of these, including this one, all of these are Android tablets. They are tablets. They are not, really powerful desktop computers. And when you try to push a tablet to the absolute limit, you're going to have issues. Remember, the Apple iPad Pro with the M4 chip is super powerful, but it's also $2,000 and has no inputs. I mean, it has HDMI, it has the USB-C now, so you could technically get a couple USB cameras into it, but it's not like having physical HDMI inputs. Like the Ultra has 4 physical HDMIs. The Talent has 2 physical HDMIs, and these are not built on top of the iPad Pro platform, because that's $2,000 already or more. And then, so we're starting at a much lower price, because these are, as of today's announcement, I think $1,100. And that's with the inputs and the external battery, any external battery connections, and a whole lot more, which we'll get into. So, hello from Atlantic City. Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Which ATEM? For me, I'm using the ATEM Mini Extreme ISO, and sometimes even that's not enough inputs. But I started with the 4 input, and I needed a 5th, so that meant I had to go to the 8. The tech team from Magewell helps develop OBSBOT firmware, not the tech team from OBSBOT. No, I don't think so. I think the OBSBOT, the device is made available to OBSBOT. OBSBOT builds the software. I mean, they probably had a good starting point, but they're going to be going in their own direction. So YOLO Live should get bigger and acquire both companies, in my opinion. I look at it like this, you know, if YOLO was alone in the all-in-one streaming appliance space, they were alone. Because if you needed to do titles and recording and streaming and viewer comments, you needed a computer. You just needed a computer. And then they came out with, you know, it was available on tablets like Switcher Studio and things like that, and made it so you could do, within their ecosystem, you could do cameras and switching and titles and all that stuff on an iPad. But these devices combined the hardware, physical inputs, and the software on a tablet together. And these all-in-one devices that enable you to use any camera you want via HDMI, any camera. Whereas Switcher Studio has to be an iPhone. You know, I've talked about Teradek Live Air, has to be an iPhone or Android phone. They don't have, they do, but they discontinued it. They don't have a way to just plug in an HDMI or an SDI cable. It doesn't exist. These devices, like the OBSBOT Talent, are that combination of the software world and the hardware world together. And it started with YOLO in 2017. They were the first, and they've been doing it for a while. And then Magewell came out. They were the second. And just the other day, I published a video about the, I even forget, what is it? Here it is. Let me go get it. The StreamTEK Mixer Live. This is the third standalone, has no relation to anybody else entry. And if you want to see the video on this, go to my YouTube channel, because that is, it's probably, no, it's not right there on top, but should be. Oh, let me refresh this. And I just did a video on this, soup to nuts. There it is. Second video. StreamTEK Mixer Live. Right over there. And it's another entry. The more people, the more companies that want to jump into this fray and make solutions for us, they're all going to have a different take. They're all going to have a different way of doing it. And we as end users benefit by companies trying to give us products and stand out. What makes this one stand out? Well, it's considerably cheaper than the rest. What makes the OBSBOT stand out? It could be the integration with the other OBSBOT hardware in their ecosystem. What makes the Magewell stand out? The Magewell has, they were second to the party, and they've got a very mature software set. What makes the YOLO box stand out? They have multiple different solutions. If you want a 1 input solution, they got that. If you want a 15 input solution, they've got that. You know, so there's a range of products. If you want something that's just vertical, they have the InStream that I'm using just for that. So there's a range of products out there for a range of needs. And it all goes back to something I've said before, is that don't pick the best product. Oh, I was told this is the best multi-camera all-in-one streamer. This is the best. No, because just looking at YOLO Live's line, what's best for this person is not the best for this person. Someone needs multiple inputs. Somebody just needs the smallest device that'll operate on top of their camera so they can do their kid's soccer game. That's the Mini. Somebody else needs 4 HDMI cameras and, you know, well, that's going to be the Ultra. Somebody wants to have remote guests. Well, that's going to be a YOLO. Somebody wants to be able to control it via the web or even remotely. Well, that's going to be the Magewell. You know, there's different solutions for different needs. The StreamTEK has this really cool thing that the Wi-Fi antenna is actually external. So if you wanted to put a big high gain Wi-Fi antenna on there, well, that's going to be this solution. different solutions. So you pick, this is the feature I need to have. I absolutely have to have this and this. Those are the two things I absolutely have to have. And then this one would be really, really good. And then this one's important. And then this one, well, it'd be nice to have, but I could still get along with that. You go down the list, and then you find the product that matches your list. That's the best product for you, not me. So there is no best product. Sorry, just throwing off of them. I think that one. Come down here. Magewell has hundreds of devices deployed in North America. I don't think they will be interested in YOLO, or nor could YOLO afford it. Yes, Magewell is actually quite big. Magewell is not just the Director Mini. They've got lots of other hardware. They're a very established, well, you know, their process is very established. The manufacturing is well established. Magewell is Magewell. Magewell is not this teeny little company that's going to steal from everybody else. Magewell is doing Magewell, and they do Magewell very well. You may put the URL link of the benefits of having a second device. I don't have a URL link for the benefits of having a second device. Actually, I think I did a video when I was working for YOLO on having a second device, but it's fairly self-explanatory. If you don't have enough inputs, a second device can give you more. If you want to quickly switch what's in that box, having a second device can make it really easy. And because it's not a touch screen, I'm able to just say, hey, let's look at this one. Hey, look, I got a third camera view. Let's look at my laptop. Let's look at the overhead. So I'm able to switch what's in that without having to build multiple picture-in-picture views, because I just want to switch what's in that box. So I'll just have a switcher feed what's in that box. Plus, on a 2-input Magewell Director, here's camera 1, there's camera 2. That's it. So, I mean, yes, there are 2 USB inputs. I could use those, but it's just as easy to do it this way. How do you connect your ATEM to the other device so that it comes to us to see it as one? HDMI out of the ATEM into the HDMI in of the Magewell Director Mini. Magewell OBSBOT don't stream to Instagram or TikTok, correct? As I said just earlier, you can stream to Instagram via RTMP. I wouldn't recommend it because, as I says, it's basically going to crop the center vertical of your widescreen video. So I'm using a vertical device. The Magewell, I haven't opened the OBSBOT yet. I have not opened it. The Magewell does have a vertical mode, so you could produce in vertical. However, as I said, if you're producing a horizontal show, you're either producing a horizontal show or you're producing a vertical show. It's the same thing with the YOLO Box Ultra. It can do vertical, it can do horizontal, but there's an or in there. You are doing a horizontal show or you are doing a vertical show. You're not doing both at the same time. Magewell Director Mini versus the OBSBOT talent. Magewell builds the talent. So it's not a fight. And continuing down, I got a couple more comments. I usually watch you from a home country in Italy, but today I'm watching from Vienna, Austria. Well, very nice. Very curious about the talent. Say hi to Luke from OBSBOT. I will. Gilberto, what about batteries? Does the package include them because specs at the end is not clear? No. No batteries. No batteries included in the Director Mini or in the OBSBOT. I have the boxes. I've received the boxes, and I should have. Let me go get a battery. Sorry, that's fairly elemental, but Sony invented the NPF in 1995. 1995 is when they developed this form factor, and it has been used for a long time. I wish I should have put the date on this one. This one's been around a while. And this is the battery, NPF. Now everybody makes NPF. You can find dozens of versions of NPFs online, and you can plug these into the back of both of these devices. The cool thing is, after a couple years, when your battery starts to wear out, you just stop using it and use a new battery. the YOLO box has an internal battery that there's currently no standard, there's no process to replace batteries as when they die. Because as all of us who have ever used a cell phone know, batteries die. Fact of life. And because the battery is external on both the OBSBOT and the Magewell, and technically the StreamTEK uses the same NPF battery. If you watch the video, I actually could not get the battery to go on the back of mine. There was a physical defect. So they're looking at it. But these devices are built exceptionally well. These are die-cast metal enclosures, and if with the big knobby corners, and if you drop this with these big knobby corners onto a wood floor, you will dent your floor. You will nick your floor. If you have tile, it may crack your tile. So these are very well built devices. But the package does not include batteries. No, it includes a power supply. Audio is out of sync, my friend. I thank you for that. When I edit the video, I will tweak that. I don't know why the audio is out of sync, because there's no process, and it was in sync before. YOLO Life stands out as bad business investment. As they focus on the latest and greatest, you'll have to keep buying to get their new set of features. Actually, that's incorrect. They just this year introduced an update to the Pro, which was introduced 3 years ago. And while before the Ultra came out, they were working on the Pro and introduced an update for the original YOLO box, which at that point was 5 years old. You don't have to buy the latest and greatest. They will continue to, move updates from the Ultra down to the Pro, which they have already demonstrated that they're doing, adding NDI to the Pro. I expect that to filter to the Mini, which has a comparable processor, and possibly even the InStream, which has a comparable processor. And so I believe that, personal belief, I don't work for YOLO. I have no engineering knowledge of what's going on at YOLO, but the work that they're doing on the Ultra, refining and updating and integrating these new things and working through the software, honing it a little bit, are going to filter down to the older units, as they already have done. So as they focus on the latest and greatest, but they do, yes, because that's the latest and greatest, and that's what is going to drive sales. But at the same time, just this year, they have already released an update to the Pro, which has incorporated several features that were only on the Ultra. Maybe it's InStream, or maybe it's Restream. Heard YOLO Live is building their own streaming camera. Yes, not just the M43 Alpha Cam with interchangeable lens, but they're also their smaller wireless PTZ camera. Excited. That's been teased. I haven't seen anything about it. I did a video at NAB with YOLO, showing off their Alpha Cam with the M4 Micro Four Thirds, and they're working in multiple different directions at the same time. Much to the dismay of people who are looking for one particular bug to be fixed on, like the Pro. It's like, fix this bug. Meanwhile, all this other stuff is going on. And continuing down the line, wow, you guys are really busy. Rome Wilkerson. If you don't know Rome knows tech, so you can check him out on YouTube and on Amazon. Would you suggest YOLO Box Ultra with 3 OBSBOT Tail AR3 cameras? No, I would actually suggest the OBSBOT Talent, because, as I said a while ago, I would think that OBSBOT is going to have inside knowledge of how OBSBOT cameras work and be able to incorporate more direct communication and capability between the OBSBOT Talent and the OBSBOT cameras. For instance, I asked them about, can I control the pan tilt zoom of my USB OBSBOT camera? And the answer was yes. Can you do it on a YOLO box? No. It's just one example. Some say YOLO Box Max may come out soon as well, with 8 HDMI inputs and some real 4K 60 ISO recording. That's going to be a monster. I'd be really interested to see what that looks like. Rome says my video and audio is great. Rome's video and audio is always great. In sync for many people. Thank you very much. Come down here. DJ Mike says YOLO Live will update its older products as the device can support it based on processor and capabilities. Yes, and that's the other limitation because, you know, when the original YOLO box came out in 17, they used the processor that was available then, actually designed in 16. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 5 years later, they introduced the Pro, and everyone was like, well, we need all these Pro features on this other one. Well, the reason they're on the Pro is because the Pro has a newer processor that was available in 2020. That wasn't available in 2016. It's faster, more capable, has, you know, more frame processing capabilities because of the video chip and things like that. Technology increases. That's like saying, oh, I want to have 3 cameras on my iPhone 4. They didn't have that technology when they built the earlier device. Mom says, and I have all the YOLO boxing is right. They do new updates. Thank you very much. I don't see the delay when you're doing the picture-in-picture. Also, I do not see the movement that you are pressing one device and then move to the next device to cut the shot to go on screen. No, you don't, because it's off screen. I have control surfaces. So, like if I want to, this is camera 1. I can go to camera 2. I can go back to 1. I can go to camera, wait, let me go right in the middle. I can go to the side-by-side, or that's me over. I can go to the side-by-side. There you go. So I'm using this little Bluetooth. And again, this is a video that's on my YouTube channel. So if you're interested in streaming tech, go to the StreamTEK channel and start looking through old videos. The information is done. It's out there. It's going to take you 20 minutes to watch the video, even less if you watch it at faster speed. And you'll get a whole lot of information on all kinds of technologies that are available. The audio fluctuates and is in and out of sync sometimes. Yeah, hopefully it's not that way on the recording. It may be I'm going through Restream for the comments and then various CDNs. Will the talent work with the Stream Deck? I think you mean the Elgato Stream Deck, and the answer, as it was with the YOLO box, is no, because Elgato does not make an Android API. And if the Android operating system doesn't know what the device you plugged in is, then it doesn't matter if it's an OBSBOT or a YOLO box. The Android tablet can't pass on commands to it from the software. It's dependent upon Elgato to provide that glue in between the Elgato hardware through the operating system to the software app that's running. And until Elgato gets around to doing that, and I'm thinking they probably won't, although it would sell a lot more Stream Decks, I'm thinking they probably won't. That is why YOLO went ahead and basically sourced their own and coded their own software, because they made the software that worked for that little control surface to work on an Android tablet so that they can call to it from their software. That's what they did. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the OBSBOT Talent is just the Director Mini rebranded. No. The OBSBOT Talent, the core hardware is made by Magewell. It actually says Magewell on the back of the device. It's not a secret. Actually, it says it right on the box. Let me get closer. Oh, it's backwards. Let's go here. There you go. Powered by Magewell. It's not a secret, okay? It's Magewell hardware. It's Magewell designed it, built it, and everything. And OBSBOT is able to then put their own code on top of it to make it more relevant to their already existing ecosystem of devices. You know, whether how much they do that is up to them. We'll see. But it's, you know, yes, it's the same core hardware. It's like buying a Mazda Miata, today's Mazda Miata, or a Fiat Spider. The engine, or it's not the engine, the transmission, the frame, and all of that engineering is made by Mazda and then sold to Fiat, who then puts a Fiat engine and a Fiat skin on it. But especially when the Fiat first came out and you sat in it, when you sat in the Fiat Spider, you would literally not be able to know you were in a Fiat except for the different logo on the steering wheel, because the entire cabin, including the GPS, the buttons, the knobs, everything, was a Miata. But it helps Miata sell more Miatas, because they're rolling twice as many cars off of the factory line, save for the skin and the engine. And then they give them the Fiat, and Fiat makes the Fiat Spider. And Fiat gets this cool little car. And technically, actually, I like the look of the Fiat better than the current Mazda Miata. It's too tiny for me. I like the Fiat. And I am a Mazda Miata owner. I had a second gen, loved it. So to say that I like the Fiat version of the Miata better, oh well. Anyway, continuing on. Kyle says, thank you for all you, well, thank you very much for saying. I appreciate that. Sync variation might be due to the variable frame rate in the video codec and for the muxing process. Yes, and I do see Restream like do this thing every now and then, so I don't know what's going on. You can control the OBSBOT Tiny 2 and Tiny 2 Lite with the StreamTEK. Now I use every night. CPU-wise, Ultra is twice as much as the Magewell. And the Magewell, as of an announcement today, had a price reduction. And not only did they lower the price by several $100s, I think it's $1,099. Don't quote me on that. It was just announced via press release. And also, anybody who purchased, not just in the last 30 days, but in the last 45 days, are going to be able to get that taken care of. So, Talent is a skin version of Director software that does some things for their cameras, while Director will have features full NDI, NDI with alpha channel, web page as source, and more. So yeah, there's going to be different feature sets depending upon what you're looking to do. Because if you already have a bunch of OBSBOT cameras and you're looking for something to wrap it all together, hey, you're going to get the OBSBOT Talent. If you are dealing with other higher end needs like web access, full NDI, then you're going to want to get the Magewell of it, Magewell variation of it. And I think that's fine. It's the same way as the Fiat Spider and the Mazda Miata. It's two slightly different flavors of the same driving experience. And the Fiat has better trunk space. Yes. Magewell just announced 3.0 firmware with over 50 enhancements, and those enhancements are being, brought out to the Director Mini, and they're not going to be available on the OBSBOT. Now, what OBSBOT is free to develop, and look at what's been done, and I don't really know how that relationship works because I'm an end user like you. I'm not part of the engineering team. I don't have insider knowledge with OBSBOT or Magewell, and I'm not being paid for this show. There is no sponsor for this show. I heard in fourth quarter of 24, Magewell is working on a new model of Director Mini. Okay, that'd be cool. I would personally like one with more HDMI inputs and a bigger screen. Because when they say mini, they mean mini. The Magewell Mini is actually more mini than the YOLO Box Mini. And that's saying something. We'll actually show that in a second, because I have made it through all the questions. It only took more than 30 minutes to get there, but I have made it through all the comments. But thank you all for being here. We have a great show. Again, it's an interactive show. I have the comments right here in front of me on this big monitor, 24-inch monitor. And this is interactive, so let's get to this. Boom, boom, boom. Let's look at the overhead. This is the OBSBOT box. All-in-one, one-to-all, OBSBOT Talent. OBSBOT Talent. And on the back, it gives you what's in the box: the Talent, power adapter, mini stands, a sun hood, thumb screws, quick start guide, and a note card. And wow, it's in the box. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 languages. Good. All right, so let us open up the box. It's coming up really slow. There, finally. I was beginning to think it wouldn't actually, air couldn't get in there. So here's your quick start guide in the various languages. I am not really going to go step by step and go blah, blah, blah. I'm going to kind of go through things very fast. Notice Standard power adapter from the OBSBOT Talent is 12 volt, 3.3 amps, ensuring power supply. The minimum power supply requirement is 12 volt, 1.5 amps. So again, these are tablets, but the more you plug into them, the more power you're going to need. So if you want to use a USB modem, the device has to power the modem, because there's, unlike the YOLO, there's no built-in SIM card slot. So if you are out in the wild and you want to, hey, I want to use a modem, you're going to plug in your modem and the Talent is going to have to power the modem. So that's how that works. And we get this, we're going to, there we go. Yay, it is thus been christened. So if you're, OBSBOT Talent all-in-one, comes down here, powered by Magewell. So it, again, this is not a secret. I mean, the big knobby corners would kind of give that away anyway, but it's not a secret. So, and actually I kind of think that's a good thing, because Magewell has a very good reputation for their hardware. So OBSBOT has their whole ecosystem of products and even an app for multi-camera switching, but at the same time, having a piece of hardware that is coming from a company that already has a good reputation, I think just helps. So here's your two NP slots on the back, and camera pops in just like that. Battery pops in just like that and pops out. You got your fan and intake out. And what this means is you're really not going to want to lay this down on a table, because you're going to smother the fan. So on my Director Mini that is doing the show, I actually have, let me pop one of these off. Let me not pop it off because it's actually doing the show. I have the smallest batteries, which I think are the 550s. So I have two of the smallest batteries, so there's always something here. But if you don't want to use batteries, I heartily recommend using batteries, because that's your battery backup in case there's a power issue. Power fluctuates coming into this device, you've got your batteries already connected. It comes with these little feet. So you can take the foot and plug them in right here. They have the battery mount, and depending upon whether you want to operate it this way with OBSBOT up or this way with ports up, this is how I do it, because I want the cables going away from me, not the cables coming at me. You can open up either one of these feet. There we go. Tough to open because I've never opened them before. So that gives you a little bit of an angle on the table. Let me move this out of the way and go to here. So you can see that gives you the space for the fan to breathe, so that while you're operating on the table like that, or like I said, if you want to operate the opposite way, now you've got the ports and the power cables and the Ethernet and your SD card are all on that side. And you got the quarter 20 on this side, so that you can either hang it from a magic arm or something like that. On this side, you've got HDMI 1, HDMI 2, and USB. On the other side, you've got your mic, combo mic line, headphone, USB, and power, and a reset button. On top, you've got your 12 volt. It says 1.5, but as the note said, it comes with a 3 amp adapter, SD card input, which I will do that right now, and Ethernet. So that's the device right there. I will use these feet to set it like that. I'm going to go back in the box. You also get a little hood that sits around the unit. Like this, only on one side. So the hood is designed with holes where this hood comes down. So you see the holes are only on the one side there. And this hood comes down, and then you can use little finger screws to put it in place, and then it gives your Talent a little bit of a sunshade. I don't operate outside, so I don't use that. And then I'm going to put that back in here. You've got your power adapter. And then you pick the plug that works in your country. For me, it's this one. There. And that's basically it. So, let me take another look at see what questions come in. My part of the world, having a streaming device that accepts a 4G SIM is a big deal. I hope more manufacturers explore this. The nice thing about it not accepting a 4G SIM, and I agree, having it built in is nice. Having it not built in is also kind of nice because you can pick the USB dongle that works for you. This is the ZTE dongle, and this is the ZTE dongle, and I sound like a broken record. There's a video on the YouTube site that tells you how to set this up, and you have to run the software that's on here. It's a USB stick. Run the software so that you can tell it, you know, this is my SIM, utilize my SIM, find a local provider, set it up, you know, for 4G, you know, whatever, or if you've got 5G, you know, set it up so that then when you stick it into the Android device, this is already configured. And then the ZTE I find to be a very good dongle. And then if you want to use 5G, you can plug a 5G in. Or if you want to use a different provider, like here in the US, if you want to use Verizon, which is CDMA, as opposed to T-Mobile, which is GSM, then you could use a Verizon device. Also, there's an advantage with the fact that this has an Ethernet port right here. You can use a hotspot like a Netgear and take the hotspot and put it outside the building or way up on a stand 20 feet in the air and run an Ethernet cable in to wherever you are. And if the cellular connectivity inside of this metal enclosure would not be the best, then that's going to be offset by the fact that you now put the cellular reception outside and up in the air where it can easily hit the local towers better than if you were trying to do it inside the building, sitting on a table, you know, surrounded by people and other gear. So there's advantages to having it not in the device. Let me plug this in. All right. Plugged in, no backup batteries. That scares me, but let's go for it. DJ Mike, so you ordered this YOLOBOX talent. OBSBOT talent, and I did not order it. They provided it for me to use on the show. KenyaTank built-in 4G is definitely huge. It's convenient, but I always find having it built in wherever you are, wherever your production table might not be the best solution for the cellular. If you're already outdoors and this is sitting on top of a camera, yeah, then it definitely does pay off. But if that's not the case, then I still see this is why I don't like the cables coming down to me. So let us do this. Tap. English for me. Next. Agree. Agree. All right, really agree. Connect to Wi-Fi. Let's do that. Turn on. We're going to see my Frisco Studios, and then I'm going to type in my super secret password. You can probably read it if you use AI and zoom in on my glasses, so that you'll have my password. If you ever happen to be war driving through my neighborhood, you'll be able to connect to my Wi-Fi. So there's that. I'm connected. Log in OBSBOT. Enter your email. Get. All right. Well, I put in my email. Let's see if I get an email. We'll continue to go down the list here while we're waiting. Get my email. Checking, checking. Nope, not yet. The Ultra could do 3 SIM cellular bonding. That's really huge. It can. And I know the Director Mini can do bonding as well. And you've got multiple USB connections, so you could do multi-SIM connections. Just like the Ultra could do, the only way you can do 3 SIM bonding is if you're still using a USB stick, just like this, because there's only one internal. Yes, you got me. Can we use any 360-degree camera with the YOLOBOX Ultra as they've updated PTZ control feature? If yes, which one? Good question. I don't know. I would leave that to ask in the YOLO Facebook group, because I don't know if they have a way of differentiating any devices versus some devices. Get. Sent success. Okay, so we're just waiting for this email, I guess, to come in with a code so that they can verify my email. Still waiting. There it is. There we go. OBSBOT talent. So again, like I said, oh, you can't see it. Let me. I can't iris down on this, but it's saying you want landscape or portrait, and I'm going to go with landscape. Across the bottom, there's a scene list, and now that I can, no, I still can't get to the operating system. There's a list at the bottom. Next, there's your audio mixer, your graphics tab, pen tab, and there's a whole bunch more little tabs and widgets you can get. Stream is the little glowy icon. Record is the record button. The little camera is take a snapshot of the screen. So if you want to like just grab something and it'll grab that, and that's where you access your main music. Let's start using it. There we go. Now I can turn the brightness down so it's not way too bright on camera. Woo! Over here you see it's got NDI. NDI configure, RTMP server, SRT caller, YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook Live are all built in here. This does not, unlike the YOLO, because I know a lot of viewers on this channel know about the YOLOBOX. The YOLOBOX has built-in multicasting. The Magewell and the OBSBOT devices do not. Maybe OBSBOT could decide to like run their own server and offer that as a service down the road. I don't know. I'm not promising it. I'm not saying they will. But it could be something that they decide to offer to differentiate themselves and say, hey, listen, you know, if you want to send to 3 destinations, you can send one stream to us and we'll split it out, which is exactly what YOLO does. YOLO maintains their own server so that you can send one 4 megabit stream as opposed to 3 4 megabit streams, which would be 12. You can send one 4 megabit stream and then they will split it out to 3 different destinations. If you're using their a service, their YOLO Cast, which is basically like Restream or Caster, it can go out to this service and then be split out to 20 different destinations or whatever you want. OBSBOT Talent versus YOLOBOX Mini. Which is the best? As always, it depends on what you want to do. Do you need it to have internal batteries or not? Do you want the ability to swap out the battery as you go through the day? If you do, then there's one choice. If you want internal SIM or not internal SIM. If you do, there's only one choice. So you need to determine what you need, and then those needs will determine which is best for you. Bonding versus Speedify will only be in the Director Mini. Okay. So this is the input list down here. I'm going to need to steal some. I'm going to steal my camera. So we're going to use the. Can I rotate this? Yes. Thank you. It has a built-in gyroscope. So whereas the YOLO box can be flipped, it forgets that it's flipped. And this one, if you're using it this way, it works this way. If you just rotate it like this, it'll spin around. I don't know if it's in this one, but in the Magewell version, I specifically said that it could be if you're using it in a car and the car's moving around and inertia is moving, it could constantly be trying to flip on you, and there needs to be a way to fix it, say this way, and there is. But just to let you know, you can use it one way or the other, hanging up or hanging down, and the gyroscope will let you do that. So what I did just there is, if you just want to clear it, I would just want to look at my picture. There's my picture. If I want to tap it and call it my input, there it is, and now I can tap it and clear it. So simple features, elegant touchscreen interface. Up at the top, you've got my Wi-Fi status. I'm plugged in. There's an SD card. There's my audio meter, which is live. It is stereo. It is very responsive if you're looking for a responsive audio meter. OBSBOT versus YOLO. That one goes to the OBSBOT. HDMI 2, webcam 1, camera 1, and there's my photo. And then over here, let's see, you got your HDMI 1, HDMI 2, webcam 1, webcam 2. Now it says webcam. These are USB cameras. And I have one here. I am going to plug in this tiny little OBSBOT Tiny, which is on USB. And I'm going to go to USB A. I'll put that right here. And then plug that into my USB input on the side. Boom, boom, boom. All right. Video clips, it does video playback. You can load pictures from my SD card. Here's my media. I can do logos. Actually go back up to the parent folder. Backgrounds. Let's do this industrial grid. Nope, that's not the way I wanted it. So let's rotate it. So you can see this nice little layer generation tool. I can make it bigger to fit the screen. I can say save. And now that is an input, the industrial grid vertical. One of the key things that these devices offer is the ability to, I don't have the output cable. And that's one thing that I think these devices should include is a USB-C to HDMI output. And I did not think to have one of those ready, so I don't have that. So we're just gonna have to look at this screen. I'm using the one that's plugged into the Director Mini to do this show. So here we have the vertical. So you can see these are various sources. There's my webcam, right there. Boom, boom, boom. It's a little slow. There you go. There's my webcam. There's my main camera. There's my webcam. And if I come over here and I say PTZ, you can see that I can pan and tilt. Can I zoom out? That is zoomed out. Oh, let's put that back in autofocus. Store that as 1. Zoom in. Store that as 2. Go back to 1. Yes, I said go to preset 1. Nope. Go to 2. Let's go over here. Let's store that as 3. 3, 2, 1. It's not going to any of them. And here's AI human tracking. Ooh. Update OBSBOT cameras firmware to enable AI human tracking. So again, that is something that is going to be possible because OBSBOT is doing the software in the tablet as well as the software in the camera. And those two things can communicate through a protocol, like Apple's earbuds. They connect super fast. Well, because Apple's making both ends of the spectrum, they can cheat and do a little extra communication that makes it seamless for you and super easy. They can do that. I don't know why it's not going to presets. And over here, it's got a record button, so you can actually tell it to record in the device when the webcam doesn't record. But we should close that. We should add plus. Let's look at NDI and see if there's NDI search. See if it happens to find a camera or two. Looking. I'm looking. No NDI sources. Oh, because I got to turn them on. So what I'm going to do here is Frisco Studios. I'm going to enter this camera. Weirdly, their software will connect to the cameras via vertical. Frisco Studios. I know. Okay, cancel. Go this way. Really? Because they were all connected via Frisco Studios already. There we go. And then when you want to actually operate the camera, you do it this way, horizontally. Now it's reconnecting again. No, my tablet seems to have camera. See, it says Frisco Studios. So I don't know why it's asking me to log into Frisco Studios. Okay, now, what, did all the cameras just, no, the cameras are up. Oh, this is supposed to be easier. Rescan. There it is. That one's on Frisco Studios, that one's on Frisco Studios, that one's on Frisco Studios. So I don't know why it was telling me I needed to log into the website. There we go. All right, so here is that camera. And I can go into the settings of the camera, come down here and turn on NDI mode. It says it's on. Go back. So if NDI mode is on and I do an NDI search, here it is. So there's my camera. So you can see there's my camera. And the cool thing with NDI is this is my NDI feed, but I can be using the app and zoom in if I use the right controls. And then that becomes my NDI shot, closer. So now if you come over here, you see it's got the closer shot. And if I move that window, you'll see the camera view moves. So you can do cool pans using the software. You can sort of give that job to someone else who's using the tablet to control the camera. But I digress. So that is available. Let's just zoom that back out. Come on, zoom back out. There we go. That is available here. Now we're going to save that, and one of the things it's going to show me is my PTZ control. I don't need to invert anything because it's not being held upside down. And auto call the presets. Don't do that. Save that. Save that. Now there's my tail air. And if I add PTZ, I can control that camera. Store 1. Let's zoom in. Whoops. I wish you could just grab the picture and move it, but store 2. Go back to 1. Go to 2. Working much better than the little USB camera, which it says I need to update. So that is pretty cool. And that is an example of the fact that you can do PTZ cameras in the OBSBOT, which you can also do on the YOLO, on the Magewell Director Mini, and now the YOLO. Here's my webcam. Let's go back into here. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to rearrange or custom do this. I don't need the pen. So I'm going to remove the pen and I'm going to put the PTZ control in there. There. You can customize the buttons you want quick access to. So with this webcam, I want the PTZ, and can you go back to P1? Nope. So we're just going to zoom out manually. I think they do need to like work on the touchiness, because it's sort of like if I move a little bit, it always seems to like go in the opposite direction a little bit first. But I've got my webcam connected. I've got my tail air connected right over here. And you can see there's an audio meter moving with that. There's actually no audio moving with the webcam. There's audio moving with the HDMI 1. And when I bring up the HDMI 1, there's my audio, because there's an audio mixer in here. And you can see it says audio follows video on HDMI 1. You can see the audio meters are very responsive. They're stereo. And the USB audio is off. Oh, let's turn that on. So now you can see my HDMI audio is ahead of my USB audio. We're going to turn that off again because that would create a bad echo. You've got a separate monitor audio level for your headphones. You've got your microphone jack right here. HDMI 2, camera 1, and here's my NDI. My NDI is on, audio follows video. We can turn that on as well, always on. And now you can see that my HDMI 1 is ahead of my NDI, which makes sense. Again, when you do anything over the network, it's being compressed in the camera, being sent around the network, and then coming into here being decompressed versus directly coming in on a wire. The one that has to go the longer path is going to take longer than the one that's coming directly and not being compressed. So you have this little audio mixer. Each one can be set to audio follows video, always on, always off. Camera 1, HDMI 2. I don't have anything plugged into them. And this is always available to you with that little mixer icon. Graphics, you can build graphics in here. You've got a title, a lower third, animated text, a digital clock, analog clock. You saw the timer. I used the timer at the beginning of the show to do a countdown. Social media. Now, the timer, just a personal opinion, a personal preference of mine. I kind of like the timers that are built into the YOLO because they're moving, whereas the timers, the countdown timers that are built into these devices have like a big, you know, here it is, 8 minutes and 24 seconds. Well, it's going to take 8 minutes and 24 seconds for that hand to move all the way around the screen. That's a long time. And my countdown's 14 minutes because I like to go through and make sure everything's running, do some comments, bring the comments into the show, and do all that. And so I have a longer pre-show. And so that countdown moves you don't even see it moving. Aside from the numbers changing, I like the fact that the YOLO is moving and showing you, hey, things are happening. So I asked them to do that, and it hasn't happened yet, but that doesn't mean that it won't, because they're constantly making updates. As announced today, there's a new update 3.0 for the Magewell that gives you, what was it, 50 new things? What did somebody say? An insane amount of updates and features. Question came in, what servers do YOLO use? Probably very inexpensive servers located where they are. Two Pineapples in Hawaii says, aloha, good to see you. Thank you for coming. Celebrating Louisiana live music. Thank you for joining in. And Jimmy Talk Tex says, howdy folks. Thanks for joining us. So again, we are talking about the YOLO box, the OBSBOT Talent, the YOLO box, the Magewell Director Mini, and all of these devices are all-in-one solutions, and OBSBOT has joined in the competition, as we shall say, by introducing the Talent, which is the latest little entry into this all-in-one. The hardware is, it's built on Magewell. They make no qualms about saying that. It's on the box. It says right there, powered by Magewell. And on top of that, OBSBOT is able to create their own integrations more tightly with their own cameras, like being able to PTZ the USB camera. I can't do that on the YOLO box, but I can do it in this box. So that's cool. You got your social media overlays, logo overlays, scoreboards. So there's a bunch of different scoreboards in here. Oh, I like the baseball diamond one. That's a cool light and dark. Oh, a different one, 3D. Actually, there's like the whole bottom set here is baseball. So probably need some basketball and cricket and things like that. Timers, I showed those. Stopwatches. You can bring in a web page. Logo. Oops, I didn't want to do that. Social media icons. So you've got those. Oh, and it's been updated for X. That's good. Bullet lists. Analog clocks. Digital clocks. Animated text. This is like a little scrolling thing that goes by. So that is their animated text. The lower thirds are not animated. They don't wipe on and wipe off. So that's one thing I would love for these all-in-one devices to step up and do, is animated lower thirds. These lower thirds are not animated. Whereas if you 5 years ago, Switcher Studio on a much lower powered iPad was having things that built on nicely and then fluttered away, and that just creates a very polished look. None of these all-in-one devices, not the StreamTEK, not the OBSBOT, not the YOLO, none of these, or the InStream, none of these do fancy animated graphics on and off yet. So that, I think, is something that they could all aspire to. And then just basic title just sitting there on the screen. Close that. And then over here, you've got your pen. If you've not seen the pen, you can say, this is very important, but I don't like this stuff over here. So you've got a telestrator built in. So if you're doing sports, and again, let's get out of here. Close that. You can come over here, settings, and then go stream, record, replay. You've got instant replay in the device. So if you're doing sports and you're going to do instant replay, that's where having that little telestrator, that little pen saying, oh, you can see he's going to go over this direction, and then she's going to run around that way and block him. And then you've got your pen, you've got your color, you've got how quick till it goes away, or menu will go away, and that is auto clear after 5 seconds. And the thickness, me personally, I think that's as thick as it gets. Thin. Okay, that's too thin to actually be usable. And the thickest is still thinner than I would like it to be. I would like to see that and then double it, so that you could be like chunky, but that's just me. That is the pen. You've got a freeze. I don't want to freeze. Oh, that was a fade to black. Don't fade to black. Freeze, switch settings. And that means, do you want it to fade? How fast do you want the fade to be? And the fade to black, how fast do you want the fade to black to be? That could be faster too. And that's if you're using that. I personally just like to cut different scenes. So that is why if you turn the graphics off and you go like this, oh, it is actually doing that. So let me go way back into those switch settings. I don't want it to fade. Go away. And now it just cuts. So that is, oh, look at that. Interesting. So what it's allowing you to do is, this in red is the source that's still active. This is the one that's live. This one is here, and then I can fade or cut. So it's sort of like auto or cut. So this is the one I'm going to go to, and then I could either cut to it, or I could fade to it. Although technically, I would not change the program that I see up here until I made that change. I don't want to go to that. I didn't change to that yet. So I would not want to go to it until I actually say cut. Like that. Or I don't want to see that until I fade to it. I would change that. Photo Cut For You says, hello, Anthony. Happy to be here again. Happy to have you. Thanks for coming. And Rome Knows Tech, so many cool features. Yes, these devices have a lot of cool features built in, because you see I've got a camera, I've got a USB camera, I can add another HDMI source. Do we even have, no, I don't have another HDMI source just laying around here. And I can add another USB source over here. I could add, as you saw, NDI. So there's my NDI, and that is a weird thing where it's actually caching all of the stuff that happened until I went back to it. So if I come back to me here and I wave my hand up and down, you can see the NDI over here is waiting. And when I cut to it, there, it shows all of that. And I don't know why it does that. It does that on the Director Mini as well. So I think that's an underlying NDI cache thing going on. There's an RTMP pull. So you can pull down an RTMP source. So if you've got a GoPro or something like that, you can pull in the RTMP that the GoPro is pushing out. You can bring in an SRT stream. And then here it says phone camera. Let's try to do that. Let's create a camera. Camera 1, save. And then we're going to need a camera app. Let's see if we can do that. Boo, 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 boo. Close. We're going to see if we can do phone camera. No, I think I need to download an app. I don't know if there is a OBSBOT talent. No. App. I'm going to search OBSBOT. Look. And then Mastermind Your OBSBOT Camera. That's what I have already. That's what's running on my Android tablet there. So what I often do is I go in here and then scroll down the bottom, and it usually says other similar apps or other apps by the same company, and I do not see an OBSBOT phone app, which is something you can do with the Director Mini, because there is a Director Utility app which allows you to do a remote assistant or a phone camera. I do not see an app for OBSBOT to enable me to fill this camera app thing. So I'm just going to delete it. When it's not in program, you press and hold, and then you can rename, delete, copy, edit to PTZ. I'm going to delete. I wanted to mention that when you put something here on the source, you can, like this vertical background, fade. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to change that switch settings again. And these are not just sources. You don't need just a camera. You don't need just a background. But if I know I'm going to need the background for something else, I don't need to have the background loaded and then load something else on top of the background. Like on the YOLO box, you load your graphic background and then you can build, something on top of it. So here, I'm just going to say, I'm going to edit this. Here's my background, and I'm going to add my HDMI 1, just like that. And then I can come over here and crop this like this, save, and then I'm going to size it down a little bit. I'm going to put it over here, and then I'm going to give it a little border. I'm going to make it a little heavier. I'm going to round the corners a little bit. I'm going to say good. That's the frame. And then I want to add that's my webcam 1, I believe, webcam 1. And then I can make this bigger over here. And then I could give that a frame, weight, give that a little bit more weight. And I'm going to change the color of that frame to orange. And I'm going to change the corners and round those corners a little bit. And then I can change the position whether I want it outside. Let's do that. And then I could put that right over here. And you see how it's also giving me, I don't know if it's coming across very well, it's giving me alignment, like those center aligned, top aligned, bottom aligned. So it's giving you little alignment things to make it easier to build your multi-view. Save. And here now I have a multi-view. Each one of these sources is really a scene. You don't just have camera feed. Even with just the camera feed, if I know I'm going to want to do something with this camera feed, I can edit this camera feed and say, you know what I'm going to want to do? I'm going to want to do a chroma key on this camera feed. Boom. I'm going to say do green. And then I'm going to say I'm done with the chroma key. And then I'm going to add a layer, and I'm going to take a, where's my image? Picture. And then I'm going to use the model, not the vertical, the modeled back. There it is. And I'm going to make that bigger. And then I'm going to move it down. There. So now I'm over top of that. Save. So now when I cut to my camera, I know I'm not going to want the green screen camera. I'm never going to want the green background behind me. So I just change it right there. And then I'm able to also do something on the side or something in the corners. All of that is a scene. And these things allow me to go between this scene with me and then come over here and this other scene that I built. Now, this is before I change the background. So you can come back in here. You can edit these. You can select this item and then say, let's do a chroma key on this source. Let's do the key color. That's green. Done. And then for this whole thing, I'm going to want a different background. So let's go get a picture. Let's go get textured paper. That's because that's a vertical. I've got vertical and horizontals in here. And these are pre-made for me. Well, I pre-made them. Let's move it all the way down in layers. And then you can see that the green screen right here is keying away, and it's not carrying forward any background that's there. So it's just me in a box. Save. And then we've got a multi-view, and then we got the single view, and then we got the webcam, and then we've got the multi-view, and then we've got the NDI camera right here. So when it finally catches up, it's pretty close in time. Continuing down the line, you could if you don't like the order of these things, you could move this. Oh no, you can't. Thought you could. Rearrange. There we go. So I can take this, I can move this down. So I'm skipping over this camera. I can just delete that. And this HDMI 2, there's nothing there. I can delete that. So this way you can clean up your little delete that. Now I've got the things right here in line. I don't have to look around. I actually want this picture in picture over here. And then if I wanted to duplicate that and then make changes, make various versions. So like this little multi-view with me and this thing, if I didn't have a sub switcher and all of the inputs could fit into this box, I could just make a series of 4 different picture-in-picture boxes. I say, take this thing, and I say, duplicate it. So this is integrated vertical, let's just change this and say, pip 2, copy. So now I've got industrial grid vertical 1 and pip 2. I can rename this one, but now you can see I've got these 2, and I can change. I say done. I come over here, I edit this, and I don't like this picture, so I'm just going to take that and I'm going to delete that item. I'm going to add color bars. I'm going to size that out, a little too big. Put it right there, save. Now I've got my industrial grid, and then I've got different picture-in-pictures just like that. So that enables you to build a multi-view and then just carry it between different iterations and have them all available for whatever you needed. For your encoding and streaming, because these are all-in-one devices, you go into your settings and you go into your encode. You've got 2 different encodes. You can stream, or you can record at a high bit rate and stream at a low bit rate. Pretty cool. They're encode 1 and encode 2. You can see I've got 720p at 30 and 1080p at 60. If you click and hold on this, you get a bunch of presets and you can add whatever you want. You just build it out. So let's go into adding one. I want to encode the program or any of my ISOs. I want to do H264 or 265. I want to do 1080, 720. I want to do 60 frames or 30 frames. I want to set my bit rate. I want to set my audio bit rate. And then you can even get into like baseline, high, variable bit rate, constant bit rate, and all that stuff, and what your keyframe intervals. If you need to, those settings are there under advanced. I'm going to close that. Basic H264, 1080, 60 at 6 megabits. Let's, we can take this up to 10 megabits or 10,000 kilobits and add, and there now I've got that as available preset. So if I went into encode 1, which is at 6 megabits, and I would rather have that at 10, I can then, oh, it's not, why didn't it show up here? That's weird. Interesting. The one that I created, it doesn't show up in the available list, only in the encode 2. So I can make that one 10, and I can make encode 1 the 720 30 at 2.5. So I can do 720p, 720p 30 at 2.5 megabits on 1, and 1080p 60 at 10 megabits on 2. And then when you go to record, here's my local record. What do I want to do? Do I want to record the 720p or the 1080? Of course, I want to record the 1080. And you can say save to the SD card first, start a new file every 4 gigabytes, or there's actually internal storage on these devices. So you have that available as well. And then we're going to go to our stream. I don't have anything set up because I just pulled it out of the box. So RTMP, it's going to go to the server. What do I want to encode? The 720p 30. That's what I'm going to want to send, is the encode 1. And then you can put in all your streaming destinations. Then when you're ready, you hit the record button, boop. You hit the stream button, boop. That's going to, like I said, I haven't set anything up. And you're ready to go. That's it. Any questions coming in? Let's take a look over here. Oh, a bunch of them came in. Can you set an intro and outro video with a timer? You can. And that is what I have on my show. I have a 14-minute timer, and you can actually set it so that at the end of playing that timer, an action happens. And the action that happens is switch to the input, switch to another input. So at the end of my timer, which has a certain input banner and graphics overlay, at the end of that timer, it switches from the video input, which has the music attached to it, to another video input that has a clean background and no music attached to it. So it does all that automatically for me. Does the device run on a battery? Yes, it does. It can run on 2 NPF batteries. So that right now I'm using it for, well, that one does not want to come out, or I'm not pushing the button in enough. There we go. So if you take your little NPF battery, it just goes in there. That one is being very stiff. Ooh, this one too. There we go. Why do you not want to go in? There you go. That's weird. I have not had that issue with these devices before. So yeah, you can put batteries on the back here, and it uses one and then the other. Now I'm plugged into power, but I like on the one that's actually running this show has 2 batteries in it, so that if you are, and I hope it's actually got power. It's just been sitting on the shelf for a while. We'll see. If the power goes out, now I'm running on battery, and you see it shows the battery is 3/4 full. So that is your UPS. And if you have power available, you plug the power in, and then that icon changes to I'm plugged in. It does not charge the batteries. I wish it did. It does not. Then again, neither does the Atomos screens. They don't charge the battery either. So be that as it may, it just doesn't do that. I know somebody was going to ask, well, does it charge the batteries while it's connected? No, it does not. Look, no battery. You are right, there's no battery. There we go. All right, now we're back in running. Come on. All right, I clicked something and now it won't. I want it for my live streams to take my money. I'll send you a link. You can buy it through my affiliate link. Will the Magewell Director app work for the phone camera? Thanks for the live. No, it did not. Just for this demo today, how many would buy this? I would. If I didn't already have one, I would. That's awesome. As for the encoding, yes, it's definitely very flexible, and also remember that it does instant replay. So, not that, it's not what I wanted. Settings. You got your replay. Turn the replay on. So you got your replay camera 1 and replay camera 2. So you've got your 2 settings are also being used here, and then your replay buffer length. I don't necessarily know if I need a 20-second replay. So I can shorten the 10. There's a replay watermark, so you can say replay. And then there's a stinger transition, 2.5 seconds long, MP4 video file. MP4s do not have alpha. And so it's going to play the short little whoosh and then cut to the next video. Mute mic and global sound during replay. I would actually leave your microphone on, because if you're going to slow down your replay, you don't want to have the slow down audio. You just want to be able to talk over it. So I would leave them on. Side-by-side replay, because you can actually have 2 replays going from both of your replay sources at the same time. And the background of the side-by-side. So if you're doing side-by-side, you need something behind it. So you got like a little thing going on there. I am not going to turn that on because that's going to use resources. OSC for remote control, if you use that. That was the switch settings, the quick switch that we talked about. Storage, you have internal storage, you have 64 gigabytes. Well, you don't have all of 64. It says 14 is used. So figure, you've got 60, 50, you got like 48 gigabytes of storage internally. You don't even have to put in an SD card. And then you've got the SD card. You got your code, you got your Bluetooth capability, and the Bluetooth capability is what I am using right here. I'm using a Bluetooth keyboard to switch my show on the Director Mini. So if I want to go between this and just my shot, I'm just pushing the 1 key. And if I want to go to just the overhead, I go to that. And if I want to go to the side-by-side, I push the little side-by-side button. And if I want to add a title, go like that. So all of that is being done through Bluetooth and shortcuts. So there's web access you can do, and I've got a video on this on the YouTube website where you can go through and build your shortcuts so that when I push this button and you push the button, oh, okay, that's this, and it gives you the ASCII key. When I sense this button being pressed, then I will do, and there's pop-ups. Do you want to switch something? Do you want it to add a graphic? Do you want to execute something, stop record, a whole bunch of different things that you wanted to do. And then there's 3 different things too. You can have it do this and add a title and do something else. So that's really cool that you can actually have 3 different things. What the Magewell at least doesn't have is the Magewell doesn't have a delay. What I would love to see is, like 5 steps and say, do this, wait 10 seconds, then do that. But that doesn't exist yet. The display, you got your brightness level, energy. Actually, I'm going to take the colors and I'm going to take them natural, boosted. I'm going to go back to natural. I don't need boosted colors. And then the audio for the device, you've got a default for input. A monitor device is the headphone jack, input delay. Now the monitor device is the headphone jack. You can use Bluetooth headphones for monitoring. And then the output microphone sound to the monitor device. What that really means right here, this is actually very important. Output the microphone input sound to the monitor device. It's a very roundabout way of saying mix minus. So if you're doing a show and you have people on stage and you're using this for the show, and you want to play videos, you want to have a countdown timer and all that stuff, you want all that audio to be played in the room. But you don't want the people who are on stage that are coming into the recording and the stream to come back into the room from here, because it's going to be delayed. So what you do is you bring them in the microphone jack and then you turn this off, so that that microphone sound from the people on stage, your talent, comes in. It's part of the recording, it's part of the stream, but it doesn't get played back out of the headphone jack. So that way you can play the headphone jack for all your, hey, let's watch this video of this, this competition. You play the video. All right, let's watch this other video, and you play the video. All those videos will play into the room, but the people talking on stage who are part of the live stream are not being played back into the room. So that is a really cool feature right there. And then you can output the microphone sound to USB-C if you're feeding it into Zoom or something like that, yes or no. So it's kind of like mix minus, but in a very basic, allow this one particular input to carry through or not be output back out. I think this box has a lot of flexibilities. The question is, can it take all the pressure? Funny you should ask. If you go to the StreamTEK website, StreamTEK site on YouTube, I almost sound like a broken record. If you go there, I have put the Magewell version of this, not with the 3.0 update, through as much as I could give it. 10 inputs. I had 10 inputs into the Magewell Director Mini, and I ran it for a while with 10 inputs, switching between 2 different multi-views with 3 different inputs each, with as slow a dissolve as I could make. So for that entire dissolve, you had 3 and 3 over backgrounds. So that's 4 inputs and 4 inputs. You had 4 inputs dissolving between 4 inputs, and there was 0 drop frames. So can these Magewell built devices take the pressure? My testing says yes. And that's why you come here, is because I'm not an AI bot. I'm not reading reading a marketing script. This is an actual end user testing these things and putting them through as whatever I can dish out. And that is the difference. I see a lot of AI generated videos coming out these days, and it just frustrates me as an end user, because all these AI videos do is just repeat the marketing spiel. They just, I'm just told to tell you all these different things, and then this is the best thing, and this does this, and this does that, and this does the other. Does it really? Well, if you watch content generated by real humans who don't care about the marketing and just want to beat these things up, like me. I agree. One of the problems I had with all the other all-in-ones is that it couldn't keep up with my stream style. Yes, that's the other thing, and that's where I think a control surface like this, or even faster than this, because this is Bluetooth, this is wireless, so this may even also have a delay, and maybe the buttons are too close, but you can use any Bluetooth, like an X keys or something like that, and USB it directly into these devices, so there's never a Bluetooth delay. This thing, if I don't touch it for like 15 minutes, it goes to sleep to save the battery. You don't have that if it's plugged in. So that way, when you push the button, it happens. When you push the button, it happens. So if your stream style is fast and you need to punch between things, like somebody's doing boxing, you want to cut fast. Well, you're gonna don't put yourself on Bluetooth. Get yourself on a wire. What is the screen size anyway? I believe it's 5.5 inches. Let's look at this manual here. And screen warranty is 1 year. It doesn't actually give the specifications. That's interesting. No specifications in the little quick start guide. But I believe Nope, it's not on the box either. I believe it's 5.5 inches. It'll be on the website. It looks to be about the size of a YOLO Box Mini, and that is a great thing. I have one here. This is the OBSBOT Talent. This is the Director Mini. Let's turn this on, or the YOLO Box Mini. Snapdragon mobile processor. So you can see the screens are almost exactly the same size. Looking at it here, for me, I might say the YOLO is a little taller, but they are the same width. And the case of the YOLO is a little bigger. You can see that the Director Mini and the OBSBOT, since they share the same frame hardware, is actually physically smaller. But this has a battery in it and it's running. This does not have a battery in it and it's thicker. This also has a fan on the back. You also want to keep this elevated so it can breathe. But you can see one HDMI input, one USB input, one HDMI out, two HDMI inputs, two USB inputs, one USB output, no HDMI out, but you can convert the display port over USB-C to HDMI from here. SD card, SIM card slot, no SIM card slot, Ethernet port, mic or line, although they seem to be very similar, headphone, mic, line, combo, headphone port, and USB-C for power. This is not for data or connecting anything else. This is just for power. This requires 5 volts at 3 amps. This requires 12 volts at 3 amps, or for when you're really pounding it, they say give it 3 amps. So you can see there's a bit of difference between these two devices. Again, this is what you're not going to get this with an AI video. And this is chunkier, this is wider. This is going to get even bigger with batteries on the back. This has the battery built in, and you could plug in an external battery bank into here and cycle between that or power supply, and then use this internal battery as your UPS. Sorry, I'm late to the stream. Does it have USB input for webcam? Yes, it does. And you can cycle back and see where I did that. Running out of room on the table. Tyler K says, I don't think I'd buy it. I'd pay a little more and get the Magewell features and warranty. I'm thinking the warranty is probably going to be very similar. And but yes, if you need the full NDI and some of the other higher end broadcast features, that would be the Magewell. Kevin says, I've already got the Magewell, but I use OBSBOT camera, so this would probably have been my first choice. I don't think there's going to be too much difference out of the gate, but I feel, as an end user and somebody that does a lot of this, I feel this is an opportunity for OBSBOT to differentiate this product more towards integration with their hardware. Whereas they can, because they're only going to do it for their hardware, for their cameras, not DJI cameras or anything like that. Whereas the Magewell, they're not making cameras, so they're just sort of like, we're making this base product to be as compatible as possible with everyone. This one just doesn't seem as snappy as the Magewell. Well, the underlying hardware is the same, so I think it's going to be the same. Does this have the website edit and control like the Magewell? Good question. Let's test it. Again, this is why you're here for the show, because it's not AI and it's not marketing driven. It's me driven. And if you like me, subscribe to my YouTube channel. And hey, before we get there, let me do a bit of plugging. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Share a video. That would really help me out a lot. Find a video you like and share it with somebody else. And then over here, we have the StreamTEK, goes away. We have this StreamTEK page. And of course, Facebook is going to be throwing everything at me. The AirMix, go away with the darn alerts. Thank you. The AirMix group is for the software that's free, multi-camera live switching on iPad. And that's a group that I created. I also write for Streaming Media Magazine. If you need consulting and direct one-on-one, you could reach me at stream4us, stream4.us, and there's a contact page up there. Over here, I also have StreamTEK on Patreon. That's brand new. So if you want to join for free, I have glitter stickers for those who want to join and support non-AI content producers like myself who actually go and do real testing and beat these things up. If you like that kind of videos and you want to see more of those videos for the stuff that you spent, do that. And then, and those are other two things that I'm going to get to in a minute. So let's go back to the overhead. What was the question? Website and edit control. That's why I was going to the laptop. There we go. So let us open a new browser window, and then we will go to the network, WLAN. Oh, I know where it is. Boop, 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 boop. If you pull down from the top, it tells you your IP address right there. 192.168.4.105. Now you all can hack me. And that's what I see. Look at that. OBSBOT talent. I'm going to guess it's admin. I'm guessing. Nope. Admin blank. Password required. There we are. Okay, for those who want to know, it's admin, capital A on both. Now, you have to change it to a different password. It's not letting me get around this, so I'm just going to do it right now. There we go. So here it is. You can see the inputs. HDMI 1 is in use, webcam is in use, NDI is in use. Here's your produce tab. So you can see each of my things going on right there. And the web interface is going to be, it's actually not too bad. And I can actually change switch the show from the web interface. And then down here is the shortcuts that I was talking about, where you can add a shortcut, add a function, click from here. I want to go to a different scene, switch to the specific scene. Which one? I wanted to switch to PIP2, add, and then I also want to go in here and add, okay, let me come back over here, and I need to create a graphic just so that I could have add a graphic, turn on a graphic, graphics name, lower third, add, and this is where I was saying I'd love to have it say wait 10 seconds and then take the graphic off so that I wouldn't have to think about it. I'll find a key for the shortcut. So then I sit here and say, attach a USB keyboard with X key. Oh, to the device. I don't have a anything connected to the device. But that's where you would do, that's where I was saying you find the button, like I have with this. You find the button, and then you add the shortcut. It won't let me do it unless I have a button. Cancel. Interesting, you can't have a shortcut unless you're assigning it to a physical button, as opposed to just have the shortcuts here in the web interface so that somebody could just boop, 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 do those shortcuts there. But anyway, here's your encode settings. And you can see the extra one that I built down here with 10 megabits. I wish it was up here. Yeah, I thought it would be available to both, but it's not. Your stream settings and destinations. So this is, the web interface is a lot handier if you need to put in a custom RTMP or something like that, so that you can get it from Facebook and then paste it into here, or get it from Vimeo and paste it into here, or get it from Instagram and paste it in here. You could do that directly via the web interface. Here's your recording, different media that I have available, pictures, videos. I don't have any videos loaded. Different music, I don't have any music loaded, and then different system settings. So that is the OBSBOT web interface. So does it have the web interface? Yes. Will this work with the Rodecaster Pro 2? Great question. I've reached out to Rode several times. I haven't been able to get a Rodecaster, so I can't test it. I would think, I mean, it's got analog inputs, so it worked that way. If you're asking if it will take a UAC, Universal Audio Codec, I don't know. Rome says, I am Li-Fi this week, and I agree. Most people want a real person to ask questions. Yes, Rome knows tech. If you Google that, he's live 5 days a week. So in terms of testing tech and gear and all kinds of things, you know, having a live person that you could tune into a live show and shoot a comment to and get an experience answer is invaluable. When will they be available for sale? I believe they were announced today. I don't know what the distribution process is or where they are in distribution, but they were announced today. Should be available momentarily. Royal Entertainment, I'm finally here, better late than ever. We got distracted with Tropical Storm Ernesto that's passing over us here in St. Kitts at the moment. Well, batten down the hatches. Thank you for joining us. It's almost 2 hours. This is a long show. And I appreciate you being here, and lots of content. We're going through the OBSBOT talent. Now I've got a title on there. Because there's vertical strain setting. Does it have a vertical strain setting? I don't know what that is. Stream, vertical stream. It does have, like, when you go to create a show, it asks whether you want a horizontal or vertical show. So I can create a vertical show, and I can say this one's going to be at 30 frames a second, and I'm going to create. Yes, that's fine. To my one. So here's my vertical stream. Gonna need to make this a little taller, don't you think? To fit, there we go. There's my tall frame. And I'm gonna add my webcam down here. And then I'm gonna add, I wonder if it kept my graphic. Can I add my graphic? No. Save. And then there's my graphics. Oh, I need to add a new graphic. So this is a different show. So come into here, and I'm going to do a lower third. That looks great. I'm going to put that down here. Save. And then I say add the lower third. There it is. And this is kind of what I do for Instagram. So I have the me at the top, and I have this horizontal show down here at the bottom, and then I've got a title in case somebody tunes in and wonders what all this is. So I've got that title that's always there. And this is the vertical show that I create. But I think one of the key things is when you go to your stream settings, you're still going to have the same output. So it's not like you've got TikTok and Instagram built in here. Those APIs are not built in. And I don't think you can RTMP to TikTok. You can RTMP to Instagrams. So the question would be, if I RTMP'd this vertical setup, would this be intact when it was received with Instagram? I can't answer that. I just pulled it out of the box today. So yes, you can do vertical, and I cheated. I used this, I used the 2 feet from one side, and now I've got it tilted vertically, and I folded the other one up, because remember, it's got 2 of these. So instead of doing these 2, I did these 2 at the top, and now these 2 are giving me the tilt this way, so that the cables can come out. I like the cables coming out of the top and not at me. Just personal preference. So yes, does it have vertical stream setting? Yes, it does have a vertical stream settings, and that's what we're doing right there. And it works, you know, as you can see, here's the interface, and here's my audio mixer, just like before. Interestingly, because it's the meters are horizontal, but all of the writing has been rotated, so now it's readable sideways, because you're going to be having the tablet this way. And then, hey, let's do yep, I can still control that camera. I can zoom in, and I can zoom out. Store P1. I'm just trying it again. Store P2. Go back to P1. Still not doing it. So, work to be done. And I think, by and large, OBSBOT has a real opportunity here with this, because, let me go back into my settings, go to the show list, go back to my default show sideways. There it is. That is another cool, you know, underlying feature. You can have different shows. You can create a show. You can name these shows. Show list. So here's my shows, and then rename. I can rename default show daily show. Save. So now when I want to do my daily show, that's the one I want. If I'm going to do soccer in the evening, or, you know, my daughter's basketball game. If I'm going to do my son's soccer game on the weekend, soccer game. So there you go, and you can switch between those shows, and each of those shows will keep the media and the presets and the audio and the titles. All that stuff that you create for that show are going to be stored in that show, and you can switch between the shows. Also, on the YouTube channel, right here, again, subscribe if you haven't already, share a video, that helps me out, become a member, Patreon. Over here, I did a quickie that showed you there's not a default no show loaded yet screen. And when it boots up, it's going to boot into your show. You can hit the power button just to turn the screen off, but you could still be doing your show and recording and everything. So it's still processing everything that's going on there. But if you're using this thing every day, and you don't want the fan to be, you know, kicked up and always running and everything, what I did was I created a new show, create a show. I created this show that has nothing in it, and then when I just want to, like, basically turn it off, I do that. So it's still on. I don't have to boot it up and anything, and it's easy to come over here and go back into my daily show. Now it's going to be bringing in all these sources and rendering the pictures and doing all the previews and stuff like that. But when I don't want it working all that hard, and I just want it to be like, hey, listen, just relax. Basically exiting the live production app and go back to like a stable, just waiting state, so the fan doesn't ramp off, it can cool off and everything. That's what I do, is I go to this blank state. photo cut for you. How do I become a member of your group? I haven't yet created the groups on StreamTEK, but I do have a Patreon. Oh, that's not it. I do have a Patreon. Just look for Anthony Barocas. That's me. And when you see the big purple border, that's right there. So you can sign up there, and I will be creating a membership on YouTube as well. Those are the two ways. And then if you're looking to buy one of these, I will be putting affiliate links in the description of this video, so you can come back in an hour or a day and use the affiliate link to buy the items so that I can make 50 cents. Also, I want to point out that one last thing, Tech 4 is one of the companies that sell the Magewell. They also make these cool 3D printed screen covers. So if you want to travel and just toss this in your bag, now your screen is protected. Yes, everything made for a Director Mini will fit the OBSBOT Talent because they have the same physical exterior shape. Also, I will point out that if you like to use a bigger stand, PK1, you can find them at PK1. They make a stand for the Magewell that obviously will fit the OBSBOT Talent. It's got the little cutouts for the corners, and you can find those two right here. So Tech 4 has 3D printed items, both a table stand and the screen protector cover right there. And then the other one is PK1.TV. So it's not on their website yet. They sent me a sample, which I find is a little tight. And it's not cut to keep the batteries in here. So they're going to rejigger this part a little bit so that you can keep the small batteries plugged into the back of this and have it still sit in the little stand, so it has the proper angle. Because if you're using these, you don't have batteries. I would much rather have the small NPF batteries on the back of the unit so that you have backup power in case the power goes out, in case there's a power failure. Backup batteries will let you safely stop your record, safely close the stream and everything, or keep the stream going. If you're doing a USB modem, keep the stream going while you run around and figure out what's going on with the power. And that way you'll be able to keep the batteries on and use the PK1 Pro stand, or the other stand from Tech 4 actually does work with the batteries plugged into it, which is how I do the show every week. I have the Magewell Director Mini, and I have the two batteries connected in the back so that if the power goes out, then the device keeps running. So with that, I will say thank you very much, everyone, for being here for today's show. I think it's been one of the longest shows with so much to talk about. I appreciate you all being here, and I look forward to doing shows. I will not be here next week. I'm on a trip next week in Alaska, so I'm not going to be here. I'm taking a week off. And I will look forward to seeing you a week after that. And if you have any questions, there's the StreamTEK group. Let's go over here and there. If you have any questions, you could always join the StreamTEK page. There's also a StreamTEK group, but there's the page is there, and you can comment on the show post. There is the AirMix group if you're interested in joining that group and learning more about AirMix. I write for Streaming Media Producer. You can always reach out to me directly through Stream for Us and the contact page. And like I says, I just added Patreon. So if you look for Anthony Barocas and you find this page, that's me. So thank you all for being here, and I will look forward to seeing you all in 2 weeks. Take care.